3. We're live, Mr. Wade. Good night, Belizeans at home and abroad. My name is Leonard Brackett. I'll be your chairman for tonight's program. Being Friday, we will deal with some constitutional matters. We'll deal with the PCC Act modifications or recommendations, and we'll also deal with the 13th Amendment. It seems like some of the people are waking up. Some of our lawyers in the country are getting uh, a sense of patriotism and are intending to participate in this process. And I have other comments that I'd like to make about that, but since I'm just introducing the program, I'll just go through the regular formalities. I have Mr. Wade with us tonight as our senior panelist, and I don't see any of our other guests or other panelists. So we normally start off with a prayer, which I'll do, and then I'll yield to Mr. Wade for him to give us a reading and some public commentary. I'll just close my eyes for a minute. O Lord, God and Creator of the universe and all that in them are, we commend ourselves to Thee, asking that Thou would accept our humble expression of gratitude for the privilege that Thou hast granted us of life and the opportunity to still be alive in fairly good health among our family members, friends, and loved ones. Please continue to bless our country of Belize, its people and leadership. Please bless this country of the United States, its people and leadership as well. And please bless the rest of humanity, loving Father, especially those people who are in earthquakes, volcano eruptions, uh, hurricanes, tornadoes, flooding, war zones, those who have need of food and clothes and shelter, loving Father, please help them as well. We ask these mercies in Jesus' name, and we pray that Thou mayest bless this program that we present tonight, that it may accrue some positive public benefit to our Belizean people at home and abroad and others. We ask these mercies in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
Are you, Mr. Faith?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you for that.
Welcome, sir. Thank you very much, too.
Thank you for the prayer. The world and the country needs prayer.
Amen.
Um, it's all manner of pestilence right now, wars and all kinds of devastating, uh, a man-made uh, pestilence, war around the world, where innocent people are dying. So thank you for that prayer.
Yes, sir.
Again, to our viewers and listeners, both at home and abroad, welcome to our Belizean Affairs show number 318. 318. Um, you know, again, we aren't been paid to bring, or broadcasts, or bring to you what's really going on in the country, bring to you all the manner of ills that goes on in the country. We do it for our own free will and as a patriot, true patriot of Belize.
Amen.
On that note, I'll continue on Proverbs. I left from chapter 10. Chapter 18, 10 to 20. And it reads, "The name of the Lord is a strong tower. The righteous man runs into it and is saved. A rich man's wealth is his strong city, and like a high wall in his imagination. Before destruction, a man's heart is haughty, but humility comes before honor. If one gives an answer before he hears, it is his folly and shame. A man's spirit will endure sickness, but a crushed spirit who can bear? An intelligent heart acquires knowledge, and the ear of the wise seeks knowledge. A man gift makes room for him to bring him before the great. The one who states his case first seems right until the other comes and examine him. The lot puts an end to quarrel and decides between powerful contenders. A brother offended is more unyielding than a strong city, and quarreling is like the bars of a circle. I'm sorry, a castle. From the fruit of a man's mouth, his stomach is satisfied. He is satisfied by the yield of his lips. Death and life are in the power of the tongue, and those who love it will eat its fruit. He who finds a wife finds a good thing and obtains favor from the Lord. The poor use entreaties, but the rich answer roughly. A man of many compassion, a man of many companion may come to ruin, but there is a friend who stick closer than a brother. That's my reading.
Amen. Thank you, Mr. Wade. I yield to you again, sir. If you can give us a public announcements or caution or
Thank
short
you.
commentary.
Thank you, Leonard.
You're welcome, sir.
My people, again, you got to be mindful. We're in the hurricane season. Don't let your guard down. June to November, right? Please stay vigilant and secure your properties, and try to secure everything that you have. You know, because you never know. And again, for the people up north who had just went through, in fact, the entire country was under flood watch. I hope that they get back to some normalcy, and pick up the pieces and move on. And like I say, June to November, it's not over yet. It just started. And for those who are on the highway, be mindful. So sad to have so many fatalities in a daily basis, pretty much. Um, be mindful. Don't text and drive. Always remember the bad condition of our roads and highways and streets. Be very mindful, and for our leaders, to turn from their wicked ways and do right by people and nation.
Amen.
And for law enforcement officers, please, take heed in the wrong things that you guys are doing to innocent civilians. Um, if you don't know the protocol in terms of service, You're there to serve and protect. If you don't know, go to your commissioner and ask him what is your duty, or go to your officer commanding that station. Ask him wherever you are working, what is my duty out there to the public? He should be able to tell you is your duty is. So we see too many disturbing images by our law enforcement officers, publicly, their actions. Take heed, because it is somebody, brother, son, or family member that you are, abusing. So be mindful. And I will not uh, continue much more, because the chairman, he has his program set up. So go right ahead. I pass it back to you, Mr. Chairman.
Um, I still needed like 30 seconds, Mr. Wade, if you don't
Sure,
mind.
sure,
I'd
sure.
appreciate that, sir.
And be mindful also that your electricity rate will soon go up. So before the year is out, you know and you know don't forget that you have other utilities that they are working on, you know price hike. So be mindful, right? Be very mindful of your utilities, that you'll be paying more. And for Mr. Prime Minister and the government of Belize, please bring the price of gasoline down, man. Please. You can do it. The
Mm,
commuters out there, and the drivers out there, their private vehicles, they don't carry a gas order book. When they go to the pump, the taxpayers aren't paying for them to fill up. It comes out of their pocket, while you guys carry a fuel order book paid for by the taxpayers of this country. So, you know, have a little heart, right? And for the farmers, there's a lot going on. Be very mindful of your prices that you're putting out there when you go to the market with your produce, right? I'm pretty sure that there are some items that you can bring down for the poor people, right? Um, don't be like the government and the politicians, and the prime minister blames the economy, that which is high price of groceries and high price of everything. They blame it on COVID and the war. That is long gone, right? So be very mindful, farmers, when you bring your produce out at the market. So I know there are some prices that you could you know bring down, right? I mean, it's hard for someone to go out and pay in a country of Belize 75 cents for a plantain that people use daily, or a lime. This is 50 cents. People use daily. I'm pretty sure that you could bring your prices down on these, some of these items. Potato, a sweet pepper, tomatoes. These are things that people use every day, every day. So you know, be mindful. Bring your price down, right? So the grocers, the Chinese grocers, they every 2 weeks you go in there. There's a different price that they have on their shelf for their item, and no one seems to check these people, right? So, you know, through our medium, I call on the government of Belize, you know, please do your job. Visit these grocers and grocery stores, right? And check the prices, because It's not right, and then you're gonna say, this is the best that the Belizean people have lived in 43 years, which is not so. You know, people are punishing. There are lots of poverty in this country, right? But you know, where are your priorities? You know, so it's some hard times out here for the public, that they are going through. And this thing about free education, parents are getting ready for their children are graduating, and then they're getting ready to school enrollment again. Publicly we see in the news, the leader of the opposition stand up and call out some schools, that those numbers, to register their kids are very, very appalling, so, and yet the government says that, talk about free education, which is, nothing is free, right? You need to stop that, and really do your homework, right? You're not helping the parents. Talking about you helping them free education, it's not free. Just imagine for one to send a parent have to have at least $1,700 to send just one of their children to high school, right? That came from the last house meeting with the government. I mean, the leader of the opposition call out some costs, right? And I'm just saying, I just call out that one number, $1,700 when you add everything up, right? So just imagine if a parent have two child to send to high school. That's $1,700 times two, right? So it's not free, right? Nothing is free, but you keep uttering, you keep saying about free, 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 which is need to stop that. That line is played out, right? Come with some real, real, real solution in helping the parent, right? And sadly, the amount of money taxpayers, you know, paying to these to the Ministry of Education, it's taxpayers' dollars, right? That they get on every time, every budget reading, right? And where does that money go? Where? So, these are just, some of the things that really affect the poor and less fortunate in the country of Belize. So sad. Back to
Yeah.
you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you very much, sir, for your kindness. Um, for tonight, I'd like to start off our program in terms of the constitutional questions and issues at state or at hand. And I'd like to pick up what is now being bantered around as the 13th Amendment in order to enhance the government's previous maligned and unconstitutional and scofflaw illegal conduct, which they are now pretending to exculpate by making this new law retroactively. That is to say, the crimes that they committed under the color of law, even at the time when they were doing so and we were telling them that they were in violation of the Constitution, they now want to expunge and or exculpate. There's no such thing as retroactive lawmaking in any democratic country or in any democracy. or in any country of laws. Belize is a country of laws. And our laws are not the laws that come out of any single individual head on any given day, whether it be police, lawyer, um, judges, or ministers, or prime ministers. Our laws, in order for it to become constitutional and legal and have legal standings, it must go through certain paces and process. There's a requirement to bring a law into existence. The prime minister can't just wake up one day and decide, okay, you know what? Today, I proclaim this, whatever that this might be, as a law of the land. It doesn't work like that. But I will read from the Constitution of Belize, Part 2, Section 18, and subsection 1. And it pertains to provisions for periods of public emergency. And it says as follows: in this part, open quotation, period of public emergency, close quotation, means any period during which, for example, under paragraph A, Belize is engaged in any war, or, as in paragraph B, there is a force of proclamation by the Governor General declaring that a state of public emergency exists, or in another case, as in paragraph C, there is in force a resolution of the National Assembly declaring that democratic institutions in Belize are threatened by subversion. That is to say, the democratic institutions of Belize are being threatened by military takeover or hostile takeover by whatever entity it may be. As of today date, we don't have any of that circumstance existing in our country. But yet we have an SOE being implemented. By the way, I would say a bogus SOE. Because why it's bogus, it did not make the threshold that the Constitution requires for an SOE to be declared lawful, legal, and constitutional. So all the shenanigans that they're doing, they're just power playing games, and bamboozling the people while taking us all for a ride. Because it's not that they don't know better. We have been telling them for years on this particular platform and on other platform previous to this one. But they go ahead and act as scofflaw anyhow, because there's nobody that's going to take them and carry them to jail. We're going to prosecute them on a personal level and demand personal accountability from them for the bastardization of the Constitution. No, that's not happening. It hasn't happened, and it's not about to happen. I proceed to read subsection 2 of the same section 18, okay? And it goes like this. The Governor General may, by proclamation, which shall be published in the Gazette, declare that a state of emergency for the purposes of this part exists. Subsection 3 reads as follows. A proclamation made by the Governor General under subsection 2 of this section shall not be effective unless it contains a decree, a declaration that the Governor General is satisfied, as in regards to paragraph A, for example, that the state of war, that a state of war between Belize and another state is imminent, or that a public emergency has arisen as a result of the occurrence of any earthquake, hurricane, flood, fire, outbreak of pestilence, outbreak of infectious diseases, or other similar calamity. And that word calamity, as regards to all these other items that I just read above, is part of the basis on which the measure is made to determine whether or not an SOE is legitimate, valid, or necessary. We don't have any war going on in Belize so far, right? Or we don't have any other state aggressing us to the point of looking to wage war, and it's imminent that we're going to get invaded, right? So there's no need for an SOE in that regards. Neither do we have, or neither has a situation arisen as the result of an earthquake, for example, because we don't have no devastating earthquake currently in the country, or 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 recently, nor are we expecting or looking forward to any in the near future. So there's no need for an SOE, right? We don't have a major disaster from a hurricane that has occurred, or is on top of us right now that is occurring, or that may occur in the very near future that we have to declare an emergency and plan for. So there's no need for an emergency declaration. Is there? There's no major catastrophic flood right now for which we need an SOE. Or, as a matter of fact, there may have been a need for an SOE during the last major flooding that we had up north in Orange Rock and Corozal, for example, or even the major flooding that we had in Belize and Cayo, for example. But no emergency was declared for any of those real emergencies. No emergency was declared. Was there? When there would have been justified to declare an emergency, so that they can go to the consolidated funds of the country and take out some money and relieve some of those people from their hardship that they suffered as a result of those flooding. So this is jackals and scofflaw. No, that declaring an emergency when it's not necessary is not correct. And they also know that not declaring an emergency when it is due is also not correct. Let me proceed. There's no major fire in the country. They never declared an emergency when they had that big fire up in by the what they call it, the sleeping giant, and the other big fire in Toledo. There was no emergency declared. The Constitution says that they're entitled to call for an emergency at that point to try and help those people that have that emergency in their area, and to be able to draw down funds out of the consolidated funds to be able to reprieve and help those people. That's an emergency. It wasn't done then. Or if there's an earthquake of pestilence, not earthquake, outbreak of pestilence, okay, or outbreak of infectious disease, as in COVID, they did declare an emergency back in those days under the Barrow administration. And then they went on to declare an emergency when the PUP government came into power. But it wasn't an emergency that was properly put into place. Because, as we had discussed at the time when that was being done, They had not met the threshold. They did not go about doing it the right way. They did not get any ascension from the Governor General, which is required. The government of Belize cannot just arbitrarily and capriciously on their own decide that they're going to declare an emergency, and because they declare the emergency, it is valid. They have to go to the Governor General to get the ascension, and the Governor General must, according to the Constitution, be aware and be appraised of the need for the emergency before she can grant it. And they must meet a certain threshold. The fact that they ask for one, if they want to have one, doesn't mean that she needs to sign off or should sign off on it, unless she knows that she's signing off on something that is legit, that the constitutional prescripts have been met. I'll come back to that type of behavior not too long from right now. I'll just proceed. And in the last case here, where it says, or other similar calamity. In other words, when there's a calamity, when there's devastation, when the threshold for national emergency is needed, they can go to the Governor General and have the Governor General assent. They can go to the House and with their supermajority pass a resolution and take that resolution to the Governor General, and the Governor General should peruse that legislative matter and see if it meets the constitutional prescripts or requirements and assent to it or not assent to it. The bottom line, and why I'm saying this again, is that the government, like for example, okay, let's be specific. The police commissioner, the current one that we have, because we have dealt with this matter quite a bit with the previous commissioner, and he acknowledged that he was doing those SOE in a bastardized way. He wasn't correct. But we have a new commissioner who is now not only wanting to continue the same policies to put SOEs in place when they're not needed or when they're not correctly due. He wants to exacerbate the situation by going from 1 month or 3 months to 12 months. In other words, he don't give a hoot about breaking the Constitution and not abiding fidelity to the Constitution. He could care less. He's the commissioner, and whatever he says and he wants to do, he expects to have it done. He fails to understand that he cannot be perceived as acting out of constitutional merits, and that he just can't send his officers out there to commit crime under the color of law. So he says, okay, well, he's going to recommend to his police minister to get cabinet to authorize them to issue a bogus SOE. The fact that they've been losing the cases, doesn't stop them or discourage them from breaking the Constitution and continue the same misbehavior. They are hiding behind the powers of state to commit crimes against the civilians. And they go out there and they beat down the civilians. They have guns. They got a nightstick. They got pepper spray. They got all manner and all kind of stuff that they use under the guise that they have an SOE, and therefore that authorizes them to misbehave, to treat people or mistreat people any which way they want. They become power drunk, even while the SOE is not legal or constitutional. Then they want to turn around and make a law to then justify what they had done wrong to become lawful. That's crazy. I'll read on paragraph B. Reads as follows: that action has been taken or is imminently threatened that any person or body of persons of such a nature and on so extensive a scale. Again, we talk about catastrophic status, right? As to be likely to endanger the public safety or to deprive the community or any substantial portion of the community of supplies or services essential to life. That is to say, if you have a group of militants who take over part of the country and is using the control over that part of the country that they take over to deprive people from being able to gain access to goods that they need for survival, then a state of emergency can be declared, and you send in the military to clear the area, or to clear, to take those people. If you don't want to send in the police. Now we have a problem in Belize, and that is that our police officers, they make deals with what they call the gang members. Then, now remember, not everybody that lives in a particular area are all gang members or subscribe to gang activities. Okay, but that is how the way the police they approach the matter. If they declare a bogus SOE in a certain area, everybody in that area is suspect and subject to their brutality and misbehavior under the color of law. And even when you have evidence, videotapes and others that show their misconduct, they are being exculpated. They're taken before the internal um,
Tribunal.
commission. Huh?
Tribunal.
Yeah, the internal tribunal, and then they exculpate them. Okay, in most instances, very few times we have found that an officer have been remanded and or suffer consequences. At the worst, they get a vacation with pay, which means that for all intents and purposes, they might as well always commit crimes and then get more vacation with pay. If that's the way, which is crazy on the face of it. You commit a crime as an officer, especially a crime that you know you're not supposed to. You shouldn't be getting no pay or no vacation with pay. That's an abuse of the system and an abuse of the public treasury. I'll continue to read for a little further. It says that action has been taken, or is okay, to deprive the. Okay, I read that. Let me go to section 4. Let me read subsection 4. A proclamation made under the subsection 2 of this section, made so as to apply only to such part of beliefs as may be specified in that particular proclamation, in this subsection called the emergency area, for example, in which case regulations made under subsection 9, because each of these SOE should carry with it written regulations, specific issues that become violated, for which then the person that violates those um, regulations can be charged or is subject to being charged. We have had SOE being issued without any such regulations. We have spoken to some of them in the past where they make declarations of SOE, but they have no violative parts of the law that the persons or individuals can be charged under, other than the fact that because an SOE was declared, that they can use that declaration, even falsely, to penalize people. It says in which case regulations made under subsection 9 of this section shall except as otherwise expressly provided in such regulations have effect only in the emergency area. Subsection 5 reads as follows: a proclamation made by the Governor General for the purposes of of and in accordance with this section as regards to paragraph A says shall, unless previously revoked, it shall remain in force for a period not exceeding 1 month. Yet you have this jackal new commissioner talking craziness about he wants to go from 1 month to 12 months. Why? It shouldn't be affecting him. He wants to be punitive. He wants to be outrageous. The guy, he wants to act like a better man than the previous commissioner. His butt needs to go to jail for violating the laws. Not because you are a commissioner means that you have a right to violate the laws. We are all under the law, according to section 6 of the Constitution, equal, and nobody is above the law. But he speaks as if he's above the law. He's the head lawman, therefore he feels like he's immune and shouldn't have to suffer any consequences for breaking the law himself. Okay? And for encouraging the people that are under his command to be breaking the law. And then he gets out there and he makes statements trying to address issues that he's not fully appraised of. Basically, the intent of that is to try and muddy the water or to curry favor with the public, to try and lie to the public and get the public believing the lies that they're telling as compared to what we are actually seeing with our own eyes. We have the section 13, not section 13, the Amendment 13. Now, with this Amendment 13, what they're trying to do is basically, for all intents and purposes, block those individuals whom they had taken into custody under the previous bogus SOEs, because there were like 8 different SOEs. I think one, and if I must exaggerate, I would say probably 2 out of those 8 had merits. They have been sued. The government have been sued. And in one instance, the individuals who sue for the breach of their liberty and the derogation of their rights succeeded in the court to get some constitutional review and justice. And part of the recommendation by the judge or jurist was that they should receive compensation for the harm done to them. So now there comes our government. Instead of appealing the matter, which is the right way to go, appeal it to a higher level court in hopes of getting a clearer resolution or maybe being able to have the case overturned. They turn around and they want to go and bastardize our Constitution. That's how deleterious these people are. How conniving they are. How much of a scofflaw they are. They have no respect for the Constitution. They have no respect for the laws. And now they want to go and make changes to our Constitution to justify the criminal conduct that they had perpetrated before. and they want to do it retroactively. They're not talking about, okay, well, from now on in the future, these are going to be the new laws, even though they are bastardized laws and they're not constitutionally appropriate. But they want to go backwards to cut these people off from being able to sue for the damages done to them. That's a travesty. That's the nicest way I can put it. I'd like to go to a part of the PCC Act. I got to switch out. I was reading from the Constitution just now. I need to switch back to the PCC Act. And according to them, they want to change our Constitution now under the PCC Act, which is, by the way, bogus as well. Okay. And before I get into this particular detail I was going to read now, I need to clarify something up front. For example, when the legislator passes a law, they need to go to the Governor General to get that law assented. That is to say, be given legal credibility, credence, and authority, without which that law is just another piece of bogus paperwork. And after they get it assented to, they have to publish it in the Gazette and they put it on the book. But they don't go to the Supreme Court to get it validated. They wait until somebody gets snared or caught up with that law. And then if that person is lucky enough to sue or get a lawyer to support their effort to be made whole under judicial review for Section 20 of the Constitution, they may be lucky to have a judge declare the bastardized law that the legislator made as being null and void. Why? Because it violates the Constitution. Okay? Now we have in the same PCC Act, the government is attempting to use the PCC Act to abolish the position of the Governor General and to abolish the position of the head of state. If people don't recognize that to be a seditious act or activity, then that's very sad. Because the Governor General has powers vested in her, granted by the head of state, to whom she is accountable and at whose pleasure she serves.
Mr. Chairman, there
Yes,
is
sir.
someone, there is a guest, I think, who
Okay,
I
let me
don't
see.
know.
It looks like Greg. He
Oh,
can bring
okay.
himself in when he's ready.
Oh, okay,
He's
okay,
going to bring himself in. He's probably doing
okay.
something else, or maybe he's not ready to come on yet. Yes, thank you very much for the heads up, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, so I was saying that the Governor General, being she currently, Her Excellency Ms. Salan, is not a lawyer and does not have of her own a group of lawyers or even one lawyer that she has full control over. She has to depend on the Attorney General, who serves the interests of Cabinet and the Prime Minister more than he serves the interests of the Governor General. Okay? So they have the Attorney General serving in two capacities: as legal advisor and legal support to the Governor General, and legal advisor and support to the Cabinet and the government. Okay? Okay, there's something happening there. I'm sorry about that. Yeah, okay. Good night, Greg.
Good
Night,
night,
Greg.
Mr. Chairman. Good night, Mr.
You're
Wade.
welcome.
Night, Good night, my
Always a
brother.
pleasure sitting with you guys virtually on the platform. Back to you,
Same here,
Mr.
sir.
Chairman.
Thank you very much. So what I was trying to make, because I had something I wanted to read here, but I needed to clarify up front for those who are hearing what this program is about. I need to make a bit of clarity, and that is that even though the Governor General is authorized and has some powers that she can make certain decisions, the power for her to make a decision to vanquish her boss or herself out of the Constitution of Belize does not rest with her. I hope people understand that. The powers that the head of state delegates to the Governor General does not supersede the powers that are reserved to the head of state. So the Governor General has authority to vanquish any subordinate officer, but she cannot vanquish any officer that is superior to her. I hope everybody understands that clearly. So the fact that the Governor General, whether wittingly or unwittingly, signed off on the PCC Act, and the present government is trying to use the PCC Act and the recommendations therein to say that they want to vanish or get rid of the Governor General out of the out of the new constitution. They don't have no such authority vested in them as the legislator and as cabinet and as the prime minister. None of them have that authority vested in them or power vested in them to carry out any such activity or authority. Even though the Governor General has signed off on the PCC Act, the PCC Act of itself doesn't have any power to vanquish the Governor General. The Governor General has no power to grant that to the PCC Act or to the legislator. And the Governor General, as I said before, has not the ultimate power of the head of state for her to be able to vanquish the head of state. So how the hell these jackals and scofflaws are expecting to make a fool out of the whole population by letting the population believe that they can go to the House of Representatives and pass a law to vanquish these authorities that are above them. When in order to make that law come into effect, they need the ascension of the Governor General or the head of state. And if the Governor General is to be found contravening any powers that she does not really have authorized to her, it means then that she's in conspiracy to commit sedition. And because she serves at the pleasure of the head of state, she can be vanquished as well. So you see what these idiots are trying to do with us in Belize? Create a constitutional conflict or confrontation.
Mr. Chairman, if I may,
Go right ahead, sir. Please.
they are not trying to create it. They are doing it. Blatant bastardization of the Constitution. Right out blank. And with the support of the Governor Jen, who
Doesn't have the
everyone
power, the authority.
believes,
That's why.
everyone believes
Okay, sorry for talking
is
over
a
you.
rubber stamp. I think they're saying it truthfully. Because I want to say this. They're not only doing it through the PCC Act. This present government with its super majority know that they cannot amend the constitution to get their ideals together. So they came to the people with the PCC Act,
Mm-hmm.
and now they are testing the waters to see if they can truly amend the constitution, and they are going after it as we speak. I go back to you
Thank you
before
very much,
I
sir.
present anything.
Thank you very much. But as I said earlier, and I will repeat for emphasis, what these individuals are attempting to do is a sleight of hand and a make believe, if I must use those kind of terms. It's more of a make believe. What they are trying to do is a make believe. They have no such authority to do what they're pretending to be doing. They need the power and the authority behind them in order for them to successfully achieve that objective. The Constitution is the supreme law of the land. And they cannot make any kind of law, or I shouldn't say cannot make, because like you're saying, they are making those laws. But those laws are inconsistent with the Constitution, which for all intents and purposes means that they are null and void, is my point. The Constitution says what is constitutional and what is not. And the legislator can make a million different laws, probably a billion or a trillion laws. They're empowered to do that. They're entitled to do that. But that does not mean that those trillion laws will be ruled constitutional unless it meets constitutional muster, is my point. So you see how far I'm trying to exaggerate, trying to get the point across? Don't care how many millions of or billions of laws they make, which they're entitled to make. If they don't make it within the bounds of the Constitution, then it's unconstitutional. All 100% of them could get together and make a bastardized law. That doesn't mean that that bastardized law automatically become legal because all of them get together and make it.
But, Mr. Chairman, the present government is at its apex of doing that because they have a supermajority with no opposition.
Greg, do you understand what having 100% of those legislators mean? More than just a supermajority, okay? More than just a super majority, which is what they have.
But
Because they
I'm
don't have
saying,
100%.
Mr. Chairman, if I may, I'm saying this
Go
to
ahead.
say when we look at the 13th Amendment that they are looking to pass, it will have to go to a vote, and they know they have the majority to do it. That's what I was saying, sir. The 13th Amendment, people of Belize don't really know what is going on, you know. But I want to say this again, like the PCC Act, in which they are using to take away the national security powers from the Governor General and give it on to themselves. It's the same thing they are trying to do with the 13th Amendment, Mr. Chairman. And if I may, let's listen to piece of the
Just
tape.
wait. Don't go there. Don't go there. Just a minute, Greg. I need to repeat myself. Hopefully, that when I said these people have not only just a majority or a super majority or a super majority, okay? Even if they had the whole 100% of them, including the UDPs and everybody else, they still do not have any power vested in them to vanquish the head of state or the attorney or the governor general. That's what I'm saying to you and to any and everybody that is willing to listen or hear. Because that point needs to be understood. It is the governor general that has sent the laws in the country. Without that ascension, the laws are just another piece of paper.
I
And
think,
the governor
Mr.
general,
Chairman,
wait. And the governor general of herself does not have any authority or power to grant the legislator or the prime minister or anybody else below her. She don't have that power vested in her to vanquish the head of state. What part of that is so hard for people to understand? She she has certain powers vested in her. Okay, just like how you have powers vested in the population, that the government have to come to the population under a mandamus or mandated plebiscite, which says they shall have a plebiscite in regards to any of the fundamental rights derogation. Those powers are not vested in the government; they are reserved to the people. So the power to get rid of the head of state is not vested in the governor general. That power is vested in the head of state himself. The governor general could assent or sign on or stamp whatever she wants to stamp. It doesn't make it legal. It doesn't carry no power or authority behind it, except she signs off on stuff that is within her authority and powers. And for that, the
But
same reason
Mr.
goes.
Chairman,
Go ahead. Go ahead. I'm sorry. I'm monopolizing. Go ahead,
even
Mr.
though you said you were saying that to me also, respectfully,
To everybody. We are, it's a live show.
I'm going to say this to you because I don't like to be put to a constitutional test, right? But I've said it more than once on this platform, and I use that word, sovereign citizen. That is how they intend to reach the goal they are trying to reach, and people are not recognizing. So let's not put that to a test because the use of the people is there. They don't care about the Governor Gen. They asked that in the PCC forum. Would you prefer to stay with a Governor Gen or would you prefer a president? That was the survey. So we know what they are after. But to get by the hurdle, they want to use the people and they are testing the waters. This 13th Amendment is testing the water to see what the people will do. And the people not understanding that it has to do with your fundamental rights. They are trying to take away your fundamental rights from you and preventing you from having judicial review by the court. The government using this 13th Amendment is to slap down the judiciary because what they are doing, they knew. We have been saying it for quite some time. We can go back over or shows that we have. When we were saying all along these states of emergency were unconstitutional, and we keep saying it, and we keep talking about it, and I keep pointing out how it went from not having the Governor Gen sign to the Deputy Governor Gen sign, and how they even put in that once the state of emergency is passed, these young men cannot go to any court for judicial review. What the government is doing, sir, and people at home and abroad, they violated the law. The government violated the law and is now trying to create a law to correct himself. But, sir, with your privilege, let's go hear a piece of it.
Uh, Greg, Greg, before we play this stuff, unfortunately, it was not on in the earlier part of the show, which you just repeated exactly what I was saying in the first part of the show. So, for all intents and purpose, I hope that with a repetition, the public is deriving a clearer understanding and more positive reinforcement of the points. But I'm go ahead and play the stuff so we could, because
Right.
might,
This
yeah,
is
go ahead, go ahead.
important so we
Yeah,
can
go ahead.
discuss it.
And there would have been no grounds to challenge the what otherwise would be draconian measures. At some stage, I think we were not allowed to come out. There was a curfew. We could not, when we were allowed to be out, we could not be out without a mask. There are a number of things, but the citizens were satisfied that it was done for the benefit of everybody.
Now that very the very point that we have to look at. You talk about the citizens being satisfied. I have heard people screaming for a Bukele like type of enforcement of laws here. What are the citizens saying about this? Because there have been a bunch of murders. Are people maybe ready to give up a few rights to try get back to a sense of safety?
I would think that those arguments hold water um, with with some citizens or many citizens. I would think that, but if you examine that a little closely, first of all, there have been 18 states of emergencies going back to 2018, and no one would argue that the gang and violent crime situation has been resolved.
It did ease off a bit though during
Well,
those
it must
state
ease
of
off.
emergencies.
It must ease off if you lock up a lot of people.
Well, I don't know because
No, that's the reason why they have it, for lock up people.
well, do they think they're getting the right people off the street? Then is that it?
Well, that is not the argument. The argument is that they have used this legislation 18 different times, and we are here now wanting to use it more, not less. So that is one point. The other point is that when you reach the stage that you're going to tamper with your constitution, your citizens must be informed as to exactly what this means. And once this is not an ordinary law, my brothers and sisters. We pass many laws every month, every year. This is not one of those. This is going into your constitution. This will not be able to come out because you have to have 3/4 and 2/3 of all members of the House to be able to put it in, which they have now, but which is not guaranteed when another government come along that they could take it out. What it also does, if it is as bad as some of the lawyers are saying, what it also does, it establishes what in law is referred to as precedent. It means you can then argue that the very constitution that is supposed to protect your freedom, the very constitution is now authorizing that you can infringe fundamental rights and freedoms. So then in a democracy, in a country, in the way how the world is getting worse, not better, when you start to take away freedoms, today it is the freedom of movement of a so-called gang element. Tomorrow it is the union leaders. Some other time it is some other ones that they don't like. You open up some serious Pandora box when you go to the constitution. Because I also want to point out that no constitution will have in there that you could lock up people for 1 month and up to 12 months. That's not what constitutions are there for. Constitutions lay out specific protective provisions for your various freedoms, and then it does deal with matters that can't be avoided. You are free to come and go as you like, but the police can in fact detain and arrest you if they have reasonable grounds that you committed a crime. And if they can muster the information and the evidence, they take you to court, where the court can restrict your freedom by locking you up for periods of time. That is a procedure the very Constitution lays down, because you can't have a country where police can't arrest those who are breaking the law and the court can't punish those who have been proven to be the lawbreakers. So So the Constitution provides for that. The only way you put a human being in jail is having accused him, present the evidence that supports the accusations, and the court will determine what type of punishment.
Uh,
Where you can have police officers arbitrarily picking up persons and putting them on a list that they are going to lock up without any charge, any allegation, and they go straight to jail. They see no court, they can't talk to lawyers. And the stupidness in the jail in Belize right now is that when you go there, they put you in a place called the hole.
Mhm. Mhm.
Gentlemen, how long have we been riding this horse and saying states of emergency are unconstitutional? How long have I been saying policies and SI does not trump your constitutional right? Here we go. Now we have learned men and women who I believe has jumped on our bandwagon and is now willing to put out there the exact thing we hear and Belizean affair was saying. And as I said before, we are at our 318th show, and I will say this in and specify it. I believe our percentage rate is at least at 90% of what we have said on this show. I go back to you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you very much, Greg. Mr. Wade, please.
Well said there, Craig. You couldn't have said it more truthful. It's so sad to see where we at now, based on all the wrongs that they have done. Where you back from what 2018, huh? Um, you hear how many illegal SOEs have been passed, but very specifically, guys, what is happening now, right? Is that you have a group of people now who says, I'm tired of this hell I'm pulling, lately, and I think I will seek my constitutional right and I will carry the damn government to court. So you have a few individuals took the government to court for bastardizing and taking away their constitutional rights.
Mm-hmm.
And you have two judges that find one, so not so, but one find in favor of some of these people that their rights have been violated. And the government now has to pay these individuals. So what they're doing now, the 13th Amendment, like you mentioned, right? They have the super majority. They do not want to pay these poor people what rightfully deserve them. No, they're going to find a damn way to pass laws that they don't have to, right? Which is a damn shame. And I call on more people who their rights have been violated by past and present government, UDP and PUP government, who had violated their human rights. Their God-given rights has been violated. I call on them. Let's see what's going to happen. Take them to court. Sue their ass, all of them. From the Prime Minister right down to the Commissioner of Police. Right down to the police that goes there and exercise these illegal acts to people, ordinary citizens. Sue them. Let's see what the judicial system will do. Let's see.
Mr. Wade, Did
My
you
rights
recall,
have been
Mr. Wade?
violated in that way. I will take their ass to court too.
Mr.
Right?
Wade, did you
So
recall,
back to you,
sir, when
Mr.
I said they were doing human trafficking in
Mm-hmm.
violation of international law
Mm-hmm.
within the country when they are picking up these young men that committed no crime, taking them to prison and locking them up?
So, Mr. Chairman,
Go right ahead, sir.
on the world, on the Belizean public, open your eyes. This is what you did. Gave them the super mandate to do exactly what they are doing to you and to the Belizean people right now. You gave them that mandate, right? So sad. And who dare to stop them, Mr. Chairman and Greg? Who dare to stop them?
The
Let's
people,
see.
Mr. Wade, the people must stand up for the Constitution. That's it.
But they don't know the Constitution, Greg, and they believe
They
more in
don't.
the they believe in their representative more than the Constitution. They know their
Mr.
representative more.
Chairman, you have tonight elaborated, speak about the PCC Act. We are tuning down to the 13th Amendment, which goes right inside the same Constitution. And I think we need to show the people some are not educated enough when we speak about the PCC Act and the 13th Amendment. But when you show and tell, they get the sense of what is happening. And
Greg? Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
go ahead, sir.
Oh, no, I want you to finish your thought because I was going to mention something. I didn't want to.
Yes, kindly do
Yeah.
so, sir, because
Oh,
it's
okay.
important.
Okay.
It's important for us to show and tell.
Okay. The government is trying to get the PCC process completed with those items that they're having there right now and whatever else item the Prime Minister and Cabinet would like to put in there or the House would put in there when they go for a vote. The problem is they're doing an Amendment 13, and according to the Prime Minister's and the Attorney General's philosophy, as expounded to us before, they could not lend fidelity to the present Constitution because they have a PCC group or commission in process. Why didn't the hell they waited also then with the 13th Amendment and put it into the PCC Act instead of trying to run it through and run it through
Well said, Mr. Chairman. Well said.
That's how they tell upon themselves.
Right.
Because they're a bunch of rascals.
They always do, but people at home and abroad, please pay keen attention to what is happening.
We are worried that the Constitution, which guarantees us our freedoms, has laid out procedures that are required to be followed. You don't go and put in your Constitution that you can lock up people without any procedure. That is not constitutional. I want to jump to another matters because it applies. The Schedule 5 and the listing of all the previous states of emergencies is listed because they are saying, as they have suggested in the very title of the document, in the contents, they're saying that give me 1 second, because it's on pages. On page 9 of the hard copy, it says, for the removal and the avoidance of doubt, it is hereby declared the proclamations, each one of those state emergencies were brought into being by a proclamation signed by the governor. And we'll come back to that. The proclamations and the regulations specified in Schedule 5, which is the one that lists down 18, I think, are deemed to be valid and effectual and lawfully done in accordance with Section 18 of the Constitution. They are making what may have been unlawful lawful. That's what this means. They go on to say, not just the proclamation and the regulations, no. They go on to say, B, all acts and things done under the proclamation and regulations, which are specified in 5, are deemed to be valid and effectual and lawfully done in accordance with the Constitution. So what is that saying? That is saying that in the event from the first state emergency to the one in 2025, the 18 of them listed, anything that was done under those regulations and proclamations, any acts or things done under them as well, is lawful and is effective.
Bradley, I have a question. So, for example, if say someone say, "Well, hey, I got picked up. I never got to see an attorney," saying that is lawful.
I was never charged.
I was never charged. I was never represented. I stayed in the prison for 6 months to a year.
Yeah.
Would that make it okay? Yeah.
It's lawful. All right.
It's lawful.
That was done from the beginning in 2018. Pick up people, lock them up. Pick up people, lock them up. Some are gang members, some are not. Pick up, lock up, pick up, lock up, pick up, lock up. Nothing has changed in the society. All you can claim is when they may lock up, it look like shooting ease down. Nothing changed.
Well, you can't prove that it wouldn't have been worse. If you cannot prove that it would not have been worse.
That's our intellectual argument. The real argument is not that. The argument is why you put anything in the Constitution. The Constitution is there to protect us. You know what they're doing? They're saying anything that was done is no lawful. When you can't go to court. Hold on, this is so important.
I know, but I'm saying that. Hold on, let me try to get this clear, man, because you obviously you got things that you want to say, but we would like to get to the bottom of this whole 13th Amendment thing. So, but anyway, what they're doing is saying that, as Suzanne was suggesting, if you come up with that argument that I was put in jail, wasn't didn't see you're not able then to go back and sue the government and win like these other individuals did. And that's the part of it that troubles me also. Yes.
Right.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman.
Away your right to go to court.
Yeah, Joe.
So you see, Mr. Chairman and people at home and abroad, we have been calling this out. We have been saying this nights after nights on our show. The government is after what? Your fundamental rights. He wants to stop you by taking away Section 20. So you can't go to the court for judicial review. And they have been testing the water and testing the water. So now they want to go further. And before we get to this open conversation, people at home and abroad, you must understand how they are doing it. Okay?
You're not able then to go back and sue the government and win like these other individuals did. And that's the part of it that troubles me also. Yes.
Right.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman.
Away your right to go to court.
Yeah, Joe.
Yeah, I would like, before I get to the substance of this proposal and the merits of it, I'd like to come to the point that Dicky is making. And I think it is a very important and salient point. This, to me, what the state is looking to do is effectively vindicate itself from a wrong it did by passing a law.
Yeah.
That in itself is inconsistent with our constitution.
Yeah.
How can the state be wrong? And then the state can vindicate itself rather than through the courts pass a law. When you, the citizen, is wrong,
you go to the court. They don't pass a law to vindicate you.
Right.
That is a kind of totalitarian mindset.
And the
I
matter
kind
was
of
sent to
agree
the
with
court.
Mr. Bradley that you cannot be just taking these things and make them retroactive.
All right, that is one aspect of it, though, because there are several aspects that we have to look at here. That one
agree.
aspect of them going back, that I agree. I don't know that anybody, you're going to find many people that's going to think that they should do that. There's another aspect here, though, that they're talking about designated areas. They're looking at where crimes are most likely to be committed and want to designate them special areas. That is another part, and that also raises concerns for me, because maybe the House of Representatives would be a good place to start with that, because a lot of crimes are committed there too. Only white collar crimes instead of blue collar, no?
I certainly would want to come to that too, Mr. Chairman, but I want to take up one more point that they keep making, and then I think we can get those out the way. How is it that the state could talk about legal certainty and there was divergent opinion by two courts, and they are saying now to have legal certainty, they will amend the Constitution? You don't amend the Constitution. The legal certainty is to use the judicial system, as Mr. Bradley is saying, and that to me is quite obvious. That matter should have gone to the point of up to the Caribbean Court of Justice. Then we may have no certainty.
Thank you.
So to me, again, the government failed on those 2 points.
Thank
But
you.
before I come to the substance, which I know we'll come to, I have to agree with Mr. Bradley strongly that this issue of a state vindicating itself from a wrong it did by passing a law, that is unconstitutional. And then to talk about legal certainty without exhausting the judicial process, something is telling me something wrong. So when we come to the substance, obviously I want to share my thoughts on that too. But I must agree with Mr. Bradley on those 2 points. It's a serious failure of the state on those 2 things.
All right, let us look at the...
There you go, Mr. Chairman.
I'll defer to Mr. Wade. Let him have a chance to comment
Go ahead, Mr.
as
Wade.
regards to the police
Wow.
activity or police issue, because he brings a lot of credibility and experience from that angle. I want to comment, but I'll wait until he takes his. Go ahead, Mr. Wade.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
You're welcome, sir.
You know, like I said before, right? I just hope and pray that I'll continue where I left off. I just hope and pray that the citizenry, right, the people that has been affected by these ill wills and all these illegal activities and all the atrocities they did to these, because they didn't not only violate them on the streets, you know, when they went to prison, they also been violated, right? So I just hope that they compile all this. And like I say, I would like for them to hold each and every one of them all the way back to the policeman who picked them up, hold them accountable, right? And then you have the commissioner of police. I don't know what's wrong with these people, right? Committing these kinds of crime against our people. And he, as the lawman, should know better, right? Seems that he does not know the Constitution. He thought probably the way I look at his behavior and the things that he says, right along with the politicians, right? Not have the balls and the guts to stand up to them and show them, Mr. Man, Mr. Minister, Mr. Briseno, Mr. All you guys who are making it. Here is the Constitution, man. I cannot go against the Constitution. Will you cover me if they take me to court too? But it seems that these people, they are hell-bent on committing the acts that they are committing, right? And I just hope and pray that, we get a judicial system that will hold them accountable. Read out the Constitution to them that you cannot be doing this. Cannot be doing this, right? Until then, we will suffer. Because I said on the last, we have a judicial system that is right along with the politicians, right along with them, failing to uphold our constitution, failing to do right by the nation in terms of protecting the nation as per our constitution is saying, right? Until then, like I say, we are up shit creek without a paddle. Back to you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you very much, Mr. Wade. Before we leave the program tonight, I want to make my last comment too as well. We're at that point now, but I want to express a sense of thanks and gratitude to the Sea Smoke program chaired by Mr. G. Michael Reed, engineered and broadcast by Mr. Clinton Young and Mr. Dickie Bradley and the young lady, I don't remember her name specifically, and then also Mr. Kohe for the presentation that they did on their show, which is where we got our clips from for tonight's presentation. And they are very much on top of what's going on, and it seems like more people are stepping to the plate now. So hopefully we'll have a little lighter burden to carry, because there are a lot of lawyers in our country that should have been participating in this process to help educate and elucidate the people and who some of the people trust. And with those lawyers that are trusted individuals in the society, we could have had a much better debate on these matters, clearer debate, and even maybe debating it among ourselves, those who are interested in the subject matter, whether lawyers or not. Because at the end of the day, well, no, let me leave that part. I was going to make another extraneous
Mr.
comment.
Chairman, if I may,
Go ahead, Greg, please.
based on what you said, and you said a mouthful, I want to say here tonight, for those of you who have called us out on this show and said we were not attorneys or legal experts, this is a proven fact that we have done our research, and what we have presented to you through show and tell is coming to pass just as we have put it out there. So now I can only say that I hope we have been vindicated, because now we see, as I have always called out, there are learned men and women out there who can take the baton and help in this cause. And it is the same way, respectfully, I believe, when it comes to constitution reform, the government should have gone to the attorneys who know constitutional law and not to the people, because they are using the people to try to get their agenda. When you amend the constitution, when you want to change your constitution, it should be to enhance it for the needs of the people, not to be used as an authoritarian rule to keep your people in check. Back to you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you very much, Greg. But with the comment where you said that the government should have gone to the attorneys or the lawyers and let them help with the process of revamping the constitution, the government don't need no lawyers to help them revamp what they already have in their back pocket, which is the problem. Because for all intents and purposes, you're correct in stipulating from that vantage point, only if we were dealing with honest brokers or decent, patriotic people. We are not dealing with decent, patriotic people or people who are lending fidelity to the Constitution and who have goodwill towards the people. We are dealing with a bunch of jackals who are hell-bent in continuing to be scofflaws and kleptocrats. And they have no interest in good governance or better management. What they
Mr.
are attempting to do is
Chairman,
not to give us better results or better outcome. Go ahead, sir. I'm sorry.
Mr. Chairman, this takes us back right to 2008 under the past government.
Mm-hmm.
For any doubt, anything in these acts are exhausted. Section 9 of 69, put there by the Borough Dream, that
Mm-hmm.
was struck down by the Honorable Judge Kante, and they refused to move it. Now here we have the present government
Trying to
trying
use it.
to make the same move as the past government.
Thank you very much. Yeah.
Okay.
Besides that, though, uh, there is as regards to the same point that you had mentioned that I brought up just now, right? Does that mean then that you and I, Greg, Mr. Weird, I leave you out, no sorry, but for good reasons. I just trying to be facetious. Greg, that would mean then that if they take the lawyers who are on the bench right now as members of the bar, we would be not exculpated, but we would be left out of that, you know. And I'm going to tell you right here and now, not only you, Greg, and Mr. Wade, and the rest of the people who are hearing our program and will be hearing it later on, I'm going to say that there's quite a few of those individuals who are members of the bar who doesn't cut the mustard that we cut, either in terms of the knowledge, the research, and or the patriotism. And therefore, some of them currently right now are in favor of the government do what the government is trying to get done. They're aiding and abetting the same crimes that we are complaining about. So we would have been left out, and we would not have had a part to play had they, the legal minds alone, been recruited for this undertaking or venture. But I'm saying, even if that were to have been the case, I would have still ended up having my say and still end up having my contribution, which is why we entered into this particular platform on this program, because we saw that there was a deficiency, and those who were supposed to have been able to do it, whether for a salary or not, were not doing it. Even those who were involved with the PCC Act did not do their full effort in terms of teaching what they were supposed to teach before they start asking questions about whether or not they want to take out the Governor General or any of those other things. Because at the end of the day, like I said in the earlier part of the program, they want to get rid of the Governor General and the head of state so that all those powers can be given or taken up or handled by the Prime Minister. And they don't have the legal wherewithal, the constitutional authority to be able to do that. And that's where they're going to come up against a solid wall that they can't cross or they can't get over. And they cannot use the people as sovereign citizens to assist them in that regards, because at the end of the day, the powers that is assented to them is coming to the Governor General, and the Governor General has no power above that which is granted to her by the head of state. So how the hell they're going to get rid of Governor General and the head of state? That's a riddle that they have to resolve. And we have gone beyond our timing for tonight. We could take probably another couple of minutes.
Mr. Chairman, if we
Go ahead,
can
sir.
just
Go
go
ahead.
to 140,
Yeah,
and
go
it
ahead.
goes
That's what I
beyond
was
the
intending.
13th Amendment.
Go ahead.
I have called out this government for being discriminative. I have said they have racism and they discriminate against the black people.
We
And
have
I
been
have
saying
been
that for a long
pointing
time.
this out
We have been
from
saying
the
that for a long time.
stevedores to present. I
Mhm.
have been calling it out. And I will show you it's a constant thing for them. Even outside of the 13th Amendment, if they fail to do that, look at how far they are trying to go.
Finally, there are heavy penalties for absconding. No provisions for transportation, illness, or emergencies. Clause we reference here is section 12. Failure to appear can carry up to 7 years in prison, even if your reason is poverty, illness, or lack of transport. A youth from the south side who misses court due to a flooded yard or no bus fare could face prison time longer than the offense itself. Mr. Speaker, this is oppression disguised as an order. This bill.
There you go, people at home and abroad. Now imagine 7 years for a crime that is a misdemeanor. Mr. Wade, you ride your bike without light and you get sick and don't show up to court 7 years. How ludicrous is that?
Onerous.
And
That's why, Mr. Wade.
as I said before,
sorry.
any law that is inconsistent with the Constitution
Null and
is
void.
null and void. The government, the legislator, cannot make any law for certain people. Everyone is protected equally under Section 6 of our
Section 6 of the
Constitution.
Constitution. And also under Section 17.
That is correct. With that said, Mr. Chairman, the closing.
Greg, could you close for us? Mr. Wade,
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Again, it's always a pleasure, and that program here tonight, I just hope that it opens the eyes, Mr. Chairman and Greg, open the eyes of the people, because this is reality. This is actually things that the government are doing to you. They are doing it, and they are trying to make all the wrongs that they have done, they are trying to make it right. Who does that? Who does that? That is exactly plain and simple. All the wrongs that they have done, they are trying to make it right. Who does try to make a wrong right in terms of what they are doing in terms of the 13th Amendment? So I call, Mr. Chairman, I call on other entities, to put their foot on the metal, to call out the Belizean administration, to have them to stop this 13th Amendment that they want to pass. And I call on civil society, I call on the public, the unions. Where are the unions? Right? So I call on them through our medium.
Mr. Wade, well said, but I want to say to you, the unions will be marching here in Belize tomorrow. They haven't just been sitting down. They want the legislation changed and other things. So they are telling everyone to come out. And I sure I'll be out there taking some pictures tomorrow.
Always a pleasure. And to our viewers, Leonard and Greg, to our viewers, Mr. Chairman, you want to thank them. Those who will be
Mr. Wade, also, sorry to cut you short, but if I would say to the people one thing about the 13th Amendment, if the government wants us to go with that, you pass UNCAC, and then we go with the 13th Amendment.
I'm with you on that.
A deal for a deal.
I'm with you on that.
So the international community can come in and check every one of you retroactively from past to present.
Amen to that.
Let's pray. We go with the 13th Amendment, you pass UNCAC.
Amen to that. Thank you. And Mr. Chairman, thank you for such a nice show tonight. Greg, thanks for show and tell always, and hope that our listening and viewing audience take away something from our presentation tonight. I want to thank you, Mr. Chairman.
You're welcome, sir.
May God bless Belize.
Thank you. God bless Belize.
Okay, gentlemen, you ready? 1, 2, 3.